machen wir hier weiter. Und gucken mal, was passiert heute und...
Plant expansion complete.
Okay, nice. Für irgendwie eine neue Basis habe ich nicht genug Münzen. Kann mir irgendwas Neues entwickeln? Na. Okay. Ja, dann außergewöhnlich Filmdose finden.
Mission accepted. Heading to Afghanistan.
Raketenarm? Ja, nice. Oh Gott.
Retrieve the film canister our informant hid in Spookmade Keep before he died. It contains vital information on Skullface's plan. For now, our only clue is the garbled photograph the informant tried to send us before the end. We're working on analyzing the data, but there's no time to wait. A KGB Spetsnaz squad is after the target as well. Boss, go to Spookmate Keep and use the VI to lead you to where the film canister is hidden. It is paramount you retrieve the target before the enemy does.
Was war denn
Map has been updated.
Keine Ahnung.
Be careful down there, boss.
So, Kassetten haben wir noch.
So what were they doing at Nzoya Badia, Baloo? That facility with all the people laid out in rows.
The abandoned factory Shabani was held in. It is precisely as you guessed. Black Anna was coding languages into the vocal cord parasites. They infected the subjects with the parasites, then made an incision in the throat to expose the vocal cords. That allowed them to play recordings of a desired language directly to the parasites.
And
the parasites learn the languages that way. That's some teaching method. I just don't get how a bunch of bugs had the brain power for it. They don't. Do not judge them by human standards. They do not learn as a function of intellect.
Then how do they do it?
What language the parasites react to is coded into their genes. You could expose the Japanese strain to English for years, and it would never learn the language and react to it. The pronunciation, rhythm, and structure are different. But what about, say, Spanish and Portuguese? Linguistically, the two are very close.
Yeah, they're both Ibero-Romance languages.
Even so, a Spanish language mating pair exposed to Portuguese will not copulate. Only when they hear Spanish. Only then. And the majority of their offspring will be the same.
So it's a literal case of a mother tongue. But if that's so, I don't see how the different strains can be created in the first place.
Well, among the many thousands of offspring, there may be just a few that react to Portuguese.
You're talking about mutations.
Correct. Playing the tapes helps to identify the mutant strains. Those specimens are then isolated and bred with one another. From their children, specimens that react more strongly to Portuguese can again be selected and bred. Repeating this process creates a strain that reacts solely to Portuguese and never to Spanish. Mutation and selection. No different to breeding roses.
So you kept increasing the change over the generations, adapting them to languages from all over the world. Must have taken a hell of a lot of patience.
More like patience. Just how many died?
There's something I still don't get. In order to tell which larvae will react to Portuguese, you'd have to let them develop and then see which copulate. That means you'd need tens of thousands of guinea pigs. There's no way you could do that in a facility that small.
For normal selective breeding methods, you would be right. But there is a more effective selection method when training the vocal.
Boss, get down. The enemy sniper. Stay low and crawl along the ground. That should enable you to sneak past enemies.
Language. Shortly before hatching, larvae display markedly increased activity in reaction to a particular language. The active eggs can be identified under a black light. So the eggs that react to Portuguese are selectively placed in their throats. So you see, narrowing down strains that react to the target language is an effective process. Though though I'm sure that even so, many lost their lives to create the various strains.
Taken against their will into that dungeon.
There are two reasons for playing the tapes for the parasites. One, to isolate the eggs that respond to the target language. And two, to cause the specimens raised from the selected eggs to mate.
I get how the system works. But why do they respond to language before they even hatch? Boss, we fully decrypted the VI data. Now the target's hiding place should be clear as day. Check your iDroid.
Before hatching.
You mentioned that what language the parasites respond to is hard-coded into their genes, and that they don't have the brain power to actually learn a language. But then you say that the larvae at Nzoyabadiaburu were learning the languages in the egg. Your story doesn't add up.
Your country is home to a unique songbird. The Japanese bush warbler.
What of it?
What a beautiful call it has. But no bush warbler can sing it perfectly at the start. As chicks, they can barely chirp at all. They must learn from their parents and other adult birds. Only then can they sing properly and attract females. So naturally, there are individual differences in each bird's call. Though they start on the same footing, each bird is influenced by its teachers.
And the parasites are the same?
Like the birds,
Nicht auf den Hund
parasites
schießen.
have a genetic predisposition towards a particular language. But while in the egg, the larvae's ears are tweaked by listening to the voice of the host. This tweaking ensures that the grown parasites will react better to the host's speech pattern.
Why would they have an ability like that?
Well, there are distinct regional differences within even the same language. Rare is the language that has no unique dialects. Yes, learning the host's speech pattern before hatching attunes the larvae to whatever twist of pronunciation it will encounter. This adaptive ability is what makes them so formidable.
I see. So a language requires selective breeding, but the parasites can learn dialects by themselves.
Of course, having the egg-stage larvae listen to the tapes in the factory was not meant to teach them. It was more important to use that trait of theirs to identify the mutated strains. As I mentioned earlier,
Is that really accurate enough to use as a weapon? You could wipe out a neighboring ethnic group by accident if their pronunciation is too close.
what you say is true. In that sense, they are imperfect as ethnic cleansers. But for his purposes, they are good enough. His objective
You gotta extract him.
is not to terminate any one ethnic group, but to render the world's lingua franca, English, inert.
He's coming too. Roger that. Look for terrain that matches the VI. The target has to be hidden there. Your objective. Now get out of the hot zone.
Mission info. Please select a landing zone. Support helicopter
Roger.
requested.
Jetzt weiß ich wieder, was es ist. Das komische Zeug. Kann ich das nicht vorspielen?
Exfiltrated
That's
hot
it. You've made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss.
Das war der Epic Sex Guy Musik-Ding.
development project has been added.
Mission complete. Great work.
Mehr Hamburger, nice.
Good. You captured it alive.
Hamburger.
Mission
Boss,
list
I've updated the mission list. We received a new job offer. The details are on your iDroid.
We finished decoding the informant's report. That floating kid we've run into a few times now. Looks like he was a test subject in clinical experiments. The Soviets called him the Third Boy.
Please?
The Third Boy was brought to a lab on the outskirts of Moscow from Czechoslovakia, after which he was due to be sent to a research center in Leningrad, then Siberia, and finally an academic town in Novosibirsk. It doesn't appear that the researchers witnessed the talents we've seen from him, but nevertheless he was quite the popular subject. His latent cognitive abilities suddenly awoke en route to Moscow. According to the report, the Third Boy was easily influenced by other individuals' biofields,
Assigned.
evil thoughts in particular. They affected his mind like a virus. Extreme anger or resentment, motives for revenge, in other words. Now, during the transport flight to Moscow, the boy was exposed to a powerful mental energy field coming from a certain individual. Ever since, being conscious of his powers, he's become a sort of energy generator. What's unique about him is the way his acute telepathic abilities get taken over by another person's will. The boy began to physically parasitize individuals experiencing extreme anger and codify the host's desires. This includes amplifying the host's natural strengths. Or, in accordance with the host's desires, he can also implant program code in another individual, making them a puppet, essentially. Human neural synapses transmit weak electrical currents between neurons. These electrical currents, though at a level difficult to observe, warp the magnetic field outside the body. The Third Boy is able to pick up these weak fluctuations. Contrary to psychotronics, which involves controlling the human mind, his abilities as a receptor are too high. The emotions he picks up from another individual are amplified and unleashed into his body as they recur in his brain. They turn into microwaves, which then affect the physical world, triggering paranormal phenomena like the spontaneous combustion of organic matter or psychokinesis, moving an object without touching it. There's one other thing. While he's parasitizing a host, the boy's ego gets shut away, allowing the will of the host to take control of his powers, like some annoying static drowning out your own voice. That means he isn't responsible for what's been happening. Somebody's extreme anger has manifested through the Third Boy's powers in ways none of us could have predicted, which would mean this was going on somewhere around us. Looking back on it, a lot of things make sense now. The man on fire, Sahelanthropus, they both came to life thanks to the Third Boy's powers. Everything has been happening through him as a catalyst. We first saw him in the hospital on Cyprus. The boy parasitizing the man on fire's desire for revenge gave him his new abilities in return. He next appeared at the Hamid Fighters Fort where the honeybee was hidden. There, the boy parasitized Skullface's vengeful mind. He controlled Sahelanthropus, making it do whatever Skullface wanted. Same goes for when we extracted Emmerich onto the chopper. When he appeared at the Devil's House in Central Africa, Skullface's will controlled the man on fire via the Third Boy's powers. Everything is clear up to this point. But even the informant couldn't pinpoint who the host was in the cave within Surat power plant. Sahelanthropus suddenly became active, then crushed not only the man on fire, but Skullface as well. Surely neither of them could have been the host. Who else was at that location and bore anger more extreme than either of them? Whose will was controlling Sahelanthropus? According to the report, emotions transmitted in children's brains affect the surrounding magnetic field more strongly. Cerebral nerves are covered with insulation called myelin sheaths to increase impulse speed. The reason for this leakage has to do with the fact that children's myelin sheaths are still developing. So, how many children do you remember being there? Children with a burning desire for revenge and bearing a grudge against you. I can think of only one. Eli. We don't know what kind of life he's had, but the resentment he's shown toward adults is nothing short of extraordinary. The third boy resonated with Eli's mind. And that means Eli bore the strongest animosity of all individuals within the boy's reception range, estimated to be a 3-mile radius, beating out even Vulcan and Skullface. The third boy has probably remained hooked on Eli's anger since. You remember at the Devil's House, the third boy showed an interest in Shabani? That must have been his ego making a rare appearance. He may possess abilities far beyond anyone else in the world, but he's still a kid. Maybe them both being kids was enough to bring them together. And if so, maybe with Eli, he isn't feeding off him, but acting in symbiosis with him. So what kick-started the third boy's powers? If we look at the location and time that his plane went down, we can make a pretty good guess. When the plane experienced the first anomaly, it gave an accurate report of its position to a control tower, due north of the Black Sea, 125 miles east of Kiev. Dead south on the Black Sea is Cyprus's Green Line. So the plane's position was directly north of the hospital where you'd been asleep for 9 years. And this anomaly was reported at exactly the same time that you woke up. The plane was enveloped in flame from the inside out. The fuselage burnt to ashes. There were no survivors, at least not publicly admitted. Your thoughts formed a synchronicity with the boy's psyche and were amplified inside his brain. That would have been more than enough to trigger his abilities. Your rage was like a big bang in his head, blowing the lid off his powers. The boy was then secretly moved to the lab outside of Moscow where Vulcan was comatose. There, Vulcan's thoughts resonated with the boy and he was awakened. Vulcan became the man on fire, hell-bent on getting revenge on you. His instincts led him straight to you. Skullface knew Vulcan from Operation Snake Eater, or perhaps from even before. Monitoring this pair of extraordinaries, he discovered the hospital and sent his assassin and XOF. Skullface was probably watching the situation from close by. Then, realizing how useful these two test subjects could be, he approached them. Reacting to Skullface's thirst for revenge, this time the boy let Skullface's will control Vulcan. Vulcan, at times driven by personal revenge, at times through Skullface's will, kept on moving, though his body was little more than dead meat. Perhaps there were moments where even your thoughts affected him as well. But without the boy's power, it was like the plug had been pulled from the socket. Everything was powered by anger, malice, revenge. This is how the end of the report sums things up. Both the third boy and the man on fire were originally test subjects of paranormal research for military applications, like telekinetically controlling the leader of an enemy nation and making him launch a nuke, or stopping the heart of someone on the wrong side of the Berlin Wall, experimenting with latent human abilities. They were used as tools of the Cold War. The boy's only crime was being born with unique gifts. But he was sacrificed on the altar of war. His life reduced to slavery under other people's wills. Turned into a living weapon with no will of his own. Eventually, the only emotion he could feel must have been the desire to get revenge for the hand he'd been dealt. Boss, it's you that awakened the boy's powers. But there's more to it than that. I guess the anger emanating from you was something he could truly relate to.
Please select a mission. Mission accepted. Heading to Central Africa. Deploying.
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out. Listen to the tape for the contract details. Just be aware that the column's commander served with 5 Commando and later made a name for himself in South Africa's 32 Battalion. He's a hardened veteran, so don't take it lightly. Boss, I have a report from the intel team. The targets are now on the move. I've sent their predicted route to your iDroid. Check your map.
Feeling hungry, old timer?
Old timer. I do not get hungry. No. But you have a new hamburger?
Careful down there, boss.
You guessed it. And this time we used lamb.
Lamb.
You're not a lamb kind of guy?
A hamburger is made of beef. Whoever heard of a hamburger without beef?
Yeah, but we gotta stay fresh, stand out from our competition.
You're what?
Just give it a try.
If you say so. Not bad. But I cannot call this a hamburger.
Nothing this time. Maybe the problem is that it looks like a regular hamburger. Gotta think outside the box. Too much baggage if they come in expecting just another burger. Let's see. Cotton candy to make it look like a sheep. Yeah.
Boss, we have new targets. Check your iDroid for the details.
What is it you are planning?
That's the way.
Are you using me? A taste tester? A one-man focus group?
Well, actually, already started. I got a place called Miller's Maxi Buns.
You are kidding me.
Well, to be honest, business hasn't been great. No one seems to like my buns.
The Ocelot said Diamond Dog's budget did not add up. But you don't mean to tell me.
What? No. Our black budget's got it all covered. I'm not embezzling GMP or anything. Still, let's not say anything to Snake, okay?
Very well. However, Kazuhira. It takes more than premium in and a clever recipe to satisfy the palate.
Okay. So what do we do?
The palate seeks one thing. Chemical.
Nice work, boss. The targets are almost history.
Additives.
There is nothing mysterious or spiritual about good flavor. The tongue simply identifies specific amino acids, which the brain then recognizes as appealing. Therefore, all that is needed is to chemically isolate those amino acids and incorporate them into your products. To be clear, I speak of flavor. The The rest is irrelevant.
That seems a little extreme.
Do not forget that I am an artist after all. And using science for the benefit of others is the joy in seeking coexistence with nature's blessings. Not everything can remain in its natural form. When we fall ill, we must be treated. Otherwise, that very nature could cost us our lives. Agriculture is one of nature's many blessings. But through that
Snake! Talk to me! Snake!
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to
Warum heißt Hamburger, wenn es kein Ham drin hat? Das ist eine gute Frage. Keine Ahnung.
Enemy presence detected. Has been updated.
Nice.
Boss, what happened? Boss!
The CFA are assembling an armored column to the north of Nova Braga Airport. Your job is to wipe them out. Just one target left.
Enemy presence detected.
So, Hamburgerzeug. Kann man das
Has been updated.
holen.
Feeling hungry?
Enemy
Old timer.
presence detected. Has been updated.
amino acids and incorporate them into your products. To be clear, I speak of flavor. The rest is irrelevant.
That seems a little extreme.
Do not forget that I am a scientist after all.
Updated.
Science for the benefit of others is the joy in seeking coexistence with nature's blessings. Not everything can remain in its natural form. Ill, we must be treated. Otherwise, that very nature could cost us our lives. Agriculture is one of nature's many blessings. But through that process, we damage the surrounding vegetation.
Yeah. Whether it's a massive farm or a tiny field, we always leave our mark on the land.
The same is true of parasites. And for food preparation. If tapeworms...
That's an enemy gunship. Don't try to take down a gunship from the front. You won't win in a head-to-head shootout. Try to get behind it and take it down with
At the brain in their confusion. So in looking through a scientific point of view, you see the necessity for processing food. Yes, it is also sometimes necessary to eliminate
Flawless work. You never cease to amaze, boss.
selectively use or even modify others.
Please select
Alternatively,
Roger. That's it. You've made it out of the hot zone. No sign of the enemy. Mission complete, boss.
Oh.
what is important.
Mission complete. Great work.
Mehr Hamburger, nice.
Boss, as we suspected, the mastermind behind the kid's escape was Eli. It's hard to believe, but apparently he'd been plotting an armed uprising against us. He could be hiding something else, too. Ocelot's gonna press him for answers. Get back here as quick as you can.
Das ist, was beim Kochen passiert. Keine menschengemachten Geschmack. Ja, es ist halt der Unterschied zwischen halt Koch sozusagen und Wissenschaftler.
Where is he?
I told you, your father's not here.
They're back.
Yes, they're back. But don't get any bright ideas. Your quarters are under full surveillance. Your weapons privileges have been suspended. No more uprisings for you. Did you really think it would be that easy, Commander? You'll get your boys back. They'll even see the boss, too. But first, I need to know what you sent them to do.
They wanted to leave.
To their homelands.
They wanted to go home. That's all.
So they were just homesick then?
Not quite. Militia warlords, PFs, the armies that murdered their families. Cousins, brothers, parents. They all had someone they wanted to kill. I told them, last chance to face the world with no regrets.
Last chance.
You better be ready for your drag back here. Ready to face the world as enemies.
No!
Like you! Goodbye, Father. I don't need you anymore.
Was Ralph really an accident? Or did Eli just rig it to stir up the boys? Either way, he had to have been planning for this all along. Bidding farewell to the world.
Boss, we're looking for the kids and Sahelanthropus, but there's still no sign of them. We don't know if the chopper pilot is alive either. What have we gone and put in the hands of those kids? We don't know how bad this is until we find them. Also, regarding our concerns about Eli, I finished looking into whether or not he's a product of that project. I have an answer. I put it on tape. Give it a listen.
This is P1, on station at LC.
Boss, I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDrive.
Umstellung. Ja. Ja. Ich auch. Vorher.
About Eli hijacking Sahelanthropus. We know how he got it moving. It was Emmerich. He used the kids in the staff living quarters to carry out his repairs. We got the details on tape. You're gonna want to hear this.
Feeling hungry?
Mal wieder hat Huey irgendeinen Scheiß gebaut. Zum 500. Mal. So, wir waren hier irgendwo.
The work he does is also part of it. What is important is the balance.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, old-timer. You really opened my eyes. I fooled myself into thinking people today wanted high-quality, all-natural goods. But my favorite burgers were never about that. What they want is something like the first burger I had in America when I went to meet my dad. Frankenburger loaded with additives. That's the America I knew and loved. I'll be back in a jiffy, old-timer. My next burger's gonna knock your socks off.
Kazuhira, wait. What is important is how we balance the... quick for a one-legged man. Frankenburger. What kind of a dive did your old man take you to?
Please specify a project. Please specify a project.
Boss, we've got the results of Eli's genetic tests. We can finally put this worry behind us.
We used the PCR technique and conducted DNA fingerprinting of the copied DNA sequences. Neither is mainstream science yet, but the concepts and procedures are sound. Both tests say there is 0% chance that the two of you are blood relatives, meaning the results are negative. He's not your son, nor is he your clone. He's just another person.
It was 12 years ago that Zero made plans to clone you. Eli's age and appearance certainly are a good fit. I admit the first time I saw him I did a double take, but it looks like we were worried for nothing. Eli isn't your clone, though you might still have one somewhere out there.
But if Eli isn't the boss's clone, why does he seem so obsessed with him? Not to mention having one hell of an attitude for his age.
I don't know. Learning the truth about himself, cursing the fact he's a clone, bearing a grudge against selfish adults, and coming to hate who he was cloned from. Big boss. If that were really the case, I could understand it. I might even feel a bit sorry for him. But no clone could have a totally different DNA fingerprint. And the test left no room for error. You yourself were there when we drew Eli's blood sample.
Come to think of it, when we went to OKB-0, he'd snuck onto a chopper and was there.
Yeah.
He was acting strange even then. Or actually from a little before that time.
That was exactly when we began these tests.
Maybe he suspected something when we drew the sample, not knowing what we were doing to him, and becoming mistrustful of us.
Hard to say. Eli's had an attitude problem from day one.
So what is he then?
Well, if he's gonna tell us that himself, we'll need to get him to open up more first. Skullface, real name unknown. Born in Hungary, more specifically northern Transylvania, after it reverted to Hungary from Romania. While he was young, the country allied with Germany as part of the Axis powers, but later during the war, it came under Soviet occupation. The Hungarians struggled for independence, but the Soviets came down. Hard. Just like he said, time and again the country was ruled by a foreign tongue. When he was a young boy, he lost his native language, the bedrock for any developing child. His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him. All he had left was his skull. Skullface first tried his hand at espionage during all the chaos from the war. Agents, military officials, and soldiers who operated out of Hungary during the war vanished over the course of several months.
Hallo Falco.
This Soviet spy hunt rocked the counter-intel world. Mysterious fatal illnesses, accidental deaths, drownings, people having strokes behind closed doors. Just like Stalin, no one knew who was behind it. But all you need to do was look for who had the motive. They were all taken out by a man without a face. And now we've got an idea of how he did it too. He'd gotten revenge for his people, but he wasn't finished. Skullface defected to the West, eventually ended up with the SAS. That's where he met Zero. It's possible he began planning this whole thing back then. It's hard to say. In any case, Zero made him his XO. He always did have a thing for oddballs. But this one was set to lead a unit no one else would know about. When Zero created Fox, he also formed XOF as a support team. An unconventional special forces unit designed to support Fox, make it stronger, with Skullface giving the orders. Zero never even told the boss about it, nor the CIA, naturally. If Fox was Zero's silver bullet, XOF was the recoil when he pulled the trigger, just like Newton's third law. While you were with Fox, Skullface was operating behind the scenes, sometimes as your backup, sometimes as a mole or a scout, sometimes as your cleanup crew. Fox's tail, making sure the mission succeeded and that you survived. We only have his word to go on, but Skullface's goal was revenge against those who'd use language to subjugate people. Those corrupting a people's identity by forcing a new tongue on them. Those using the power of language to control information. Naturally, that set his sights on Zero. To Zero, English was simply the most convenient code. But to Skullface, English was a parasite. And by eradicating it, he'd stop the world from being eaten away. If that didn't work, he was ready to see the world scorched by nuclear fire. To save language, culture, and race from annihilation, he was willing to overstep the hands of the doomsday clock. That is, of course, if you believe anything he had to say.
Schmeiß alles in den Müll, was du dachtest, zu glauben zu wissen über Eli. Nicht ganz. Mehr zu sagen wäre Spoiler. So, das ist die Quiet-Mission. Ah, ich hab's. Ja. Schade. Quiet-Mission kann ich keine Quiet mitnehmen. Okay, ich brauche aber einen Scharfschützen. Ja.
Deploying.
Warum kann ich Quiet nicht mitnehmen? Weil es die Wiederholung von der Mission ist, wo ich gegen Quiet kämpfe. Ja. Also in Kapitel 2, wo wir jetzt sind, von dem Spiel, gibt's Missionen einfach, die halt einfach wiederholt werden. Warum auch immer. Wieso wiederholt sich so? Keine Ahnung. Aber ja, manche Missionen werden wiederholt und hier in dem Fall ist es halt die Mission von... Yo, was?
Snake, are you okay? Snake!
Es sind halt ein bisschen schwieriger. Also bei manchen Missionen darf es halt nicht entdeckt werden. Manche Missionen ist halt wie hier, dass du halt anscheinend Mutterficker wurde ziemlich
Please select a drop point.
ja genau
Supplies
hier, bitte.
requested.
Na, nicht ganz, fuck. Okay, Fahrzeug, genau. Ich will einen Panzer, genau. Na. Okay, müssen wir kurz warten.
Marker placed.
Ja. Ich will einen Panzer.
Please select a drop point.
Genau. Hier? Nee. Das ist schlecht. Das ist nicht gut.
Marker placed. Marker removed. Marker removed.
Gut. So, ich will einen Panzer.
Please select a drop point.
Genau.
Supplies requested.
Da. Oder so. Nein! Bullshit.
Caution. Sandstorm.
Boss, you need to go around outside. The enemy sniper just disappeared. Zero visibility. If you can't mark him, you don't stand a chance.
Oh.
Stay sharp.
Ja gut, der Panzer wäre eh nicht richtig gelandet.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake?
Boss, you okay? Could it be that sniper? Quiet. Quiet. Our silent assassin. Where's the sniping point?
Please select a drop point. Supplies requested. Supply drop complete.
Komm. Nein! Oh, du
The enemy
Sau.
sniper just disappeared. Zero visibility. If you can't mark him, you don't
So
stand
knapp.
a chance. Stay sharp.
Wie soll man das denn schaffen, bitte? Sich verpisst jetzt? Nee. Was ist das? Entspannt, ja. kaum Schaden genommen.
Caution, sandstorm approaching.
Wie soll man das denn bitte schaffen? Zum Quiet, ja.
Boss, don't overdo it. You can always settle the score some other time. Better to live and fight another day.
Okay, ich muss zack, zack machen.
Snake, talk to me.
Dann wird das schon irgendwie. Vielleicht, also das Spiel gibt mir Hühnerhaube.
Boss, don't overdo it. You can always settle the score some other time. Better to live and fight another day. Look out, boss. Take cover. There's a laser sight trained on your head. Sniper just disappeared. Zero visibility. If you can't mark him, you don't stand a chance. Stay sharp.
Caution, sandstorm approaching.
Mess. Ich frage mich, ob ich diese Wiederholungsmissionen neu machen. Wirklich. Ich war wieder nicht.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake? Snake!
Ich schau mal schnell, ob ich diese Wiederholungsmission unbedingt machen muss oder ob ich einfach irgendeine Mission machen kann, um halt die Zeit zu vertreiben oder so. Ja. Und none of the repeat missions are required to progress the story. So while they can progress the game, you don't need to do them. Okay. Sind komplett optional, müssen wir nicht machen. Gut. Meine neue Kassette. Ne?
Boss, I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid.
Das anscheinend ist Mission 46, wenn ich das richtig im Kopf habe. Die letzte richtige Story-Mission. Und ja. So, Story-Kassette.
What was your goal in having the children repair Sahelanthropus?
I just answered their question.
Kann sie auslassen? Ja.
I had no idea they would actually try to fix it. I mean, can you imagine a child piloting it?
Oh, sure. Easily.
It wouldn't work.
I bet it's just like riding a bike.
I said it didn't work.
Who did you try?
I didn't.
Did you put your son in it?
We never did that.
His name was, Hal, wasn't it?
Oh.
I thought you said you never saw his face. But you made him pilot Sahelanthropus. You used him in your experiments.
He wanted to get in. It was such a short time we had.
So he was with you.
We were happy.
You're still happy now. Changing your lies to suit the listener and getting by slipping through the cracks. Building layer upon layer of convenient stories until nothing means anything to you anymore. You're happy all the time because you don't even notice you're doing it. Think hard. Who are you really? You're not a victim, and you're not the silent majority. You're a perpetrator and a petty hypocrite. The real world doesn't make you suffer. It's the other way around.
Okay, ja, ich muss nicht unbedingt die Dinge machen. Ich kann auch einfach Nebenmissionen machen. Ja. Ja.
Please select a landing heading
Tier
to
fangen.
Central Africa. Deploying. Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated. The map has been updated.
That's the target.
Na, die Brücke ist kaputt, scheiße.
Enemy presence detected. The map has
Das ist halt die von Simulationsspiele Richtung Factorio oder Prison Architect. Sind ganz cool. Also spiele ich hin und wieder schon ganz gerne. Ja. Factorio kenne ich ein bisschen, habe ich ein bisschen die ersten paar Missionen sozusagen gespielt, aber nicht sehr viel. Ist eigentlich ein ziemlich cooles Spiel. Prison Architect kenne ich ein kleines bisschen mehr, habe ich ein bisschen mehr gespielt. Ist grundsätzlich eigentlich auch ganz cool. Ja, so Simulationsspiele, so Management, was weiß ich, spiele ich schon ganz gerne hin und wieder mal. Gerade ein cooles rausgekommen, Dyson Sphere. Okay, muss ich mir mal anschauen, weil der Name sagt mir gar nichts. Also so vom Spielmäßigen her. Der Name Dyson Sphere, den kenne ich, aber Python. Oh, okay. Ja. Aber es, wenn das ein Versehen war, dann ein witziges Versehen, weil Dyson Sphere gibt es tatsächlich. Also das Konzept. Weil Dyson Sphere ist im Endeffekt ein Gebilde, das um einen Stern gebaut wird. Jetzt zum Beispiel unsere Sonne. Um effektiv die Energie der Sonne für uns zu sammeln, umzuwandeln und so weiter. Das ist, glaube ich, ein Dyson Sphere, glaube ich. Mal schauen. Ne, das... Moment. Ne, das Spiel an sich heißt Dysons 4. Ja, okay. Kein Problem. Mit einer Dyson-Sphäre KI beantragen. Ja, muss ich mir mal anschauen. Könnte was Interessantes sein.
Please select a landing zone. Mission not accepted. Please select a landing zone. Heading to Afghanistan. Deploying.
Okay.
Marker placed. Marker placed.
Be careful down there, boss.
Please select supplies requested.
Oh, was? Toni macht
Supply
Pipi.
drop complete.
Interessant.
Good dog. Good dog. Good dog.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Das hört der andere natürlich nicht. Ich brauche einen Spezialisten, halt. Ich brauche Gefangenen. Ach, den habe ich. Ja.
Me too. Roger that.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Что это?
Ja.
That's the target.
Side ops list updated.
Okay, subject is in.
Arrived at Mother Base.
You gotta extract him.
Blood. Bye bye. Damn. Oh.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Штаб, это КП. Подразделся огонь. Открыли огонь в ответ. Но потеряли врага. Враг может все еще прятаться поблизости. Соблюдайте осторожность. Прием.
That's the target.
Schaf! Jetzt ist das Schaf wegen Ding gestorben. Good.
Side ops list updated. Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Aber warum ist denn hier jetzt auf einmal?
Boss, have an emergency.
Ah.
There's been another outbreak of the vocal cord parasites on the base. Several men are dead.
Was?
It started in the laboratory on the quarantine platform where the radiation leak occurred. I'd only just deployed the security team. I've sent in a rescue team to help, but they haven't returned. Boss, I need you on this. Come back to Mother Base ASAP.
Okay. Noch ein Spiel, Mad Games Tycoon 2.
Here we go again. There's been another outbreak in the laboratory. The quarantine platform. We sent a team to investigate and recover the survivors, but they haven't returned.
There's nothing on the radio either. We got a backup team ready to go. Just give the order and
I'll go alone.
Boss, what are you... There's no need for that.
We can't afford to lose anyone else.
We have no idea what's going on
Exactly. Anyone still alive's at their breaking point. Last thing we need is another unit storming in. No telling how they'd react.
Fine. First off, check how much the infection has spread. Rescue comes next, after we know the situation. When you're ready to move, just use the iDroid.
We have no idea why the parasite has showed up again. I thought we took care of it. We need more information. Find out what's going on, boss. Select a mission on your iDroid.
Please select a mission.
Okay. Ja, machen wir das noch. Und dann gucken wir, ob es noch irgendwie Zwischensequenzen oder so gibt. Und dann machen wir mal Pause.
Boss, let's go over the situation again. We've got another parasite outbreak in the laboratory on the quarantine platform.
What is this? No idea. Damn it.
Wie viel ist in dem Spiel noch zu erledigen?
What the?
Ich glaube nicht mehr so super viel. Also vielleicht Zombies. Nein. Vielleicht sind wir nächste Woche schon fertig. Keine Ahnung. Gestern habe ich glaube ich gesagt, 60% sind ungefähr durch, aber ich glaube, wir sind schon doch ein bisschen weiter, als ich gedacht habe.
Prevented symptoms during the last epidemic. The parasites lodge in the victim's throat, forming a mating pair. But the Volbachia turns the male to female. Two females can neither copulate nor lay eggs.
That's why the rescue team went in with more Wolbachia. But the outbreak still isn't under control.
They should not be capable of laying eggs. Yet, we have a new outbreak. And the Wolbachia have no effect. I pray this is not some new strain. If it is,
then someone may have brought it here. If there's a spy running around.
For now, we must focus on discerning the outbreak mechanism. The cases show another alarming new development. It is now even more difficult to tell who is infected. The eggs propagate out of sight. No external symptoms. One who appears healthy may be dying on the inside.
What the hell happened in there? Boss, I still can't raise the rescue team I sent in. We know how to proceed if we just knew how to ID the symptoms. Finding that out is part of your job in there.
Development complete.
Quarantine tent.
Development data map has been updated.
Hang on, Snake. We've just had a transmission from inside. Here's the audio.
It all makes sense now. I win.
Where's it coming from?
Unknown. It cut off before we could get a fix. It all makes sense. Think he means the parasite? No way to know. But right now, that's all we've got. Hopefully he can tell us something. We'll have to close the tent behind you, boss. Don't think the infection's airborne, but... Find the source of that transmission, boss. Find our man.
You never know.
What is it?
Something sweet. I can smell it even through the mask.
The rescue team reported that too. Said it smelled like ripe fruit.
We cannot allow the infection to spread. If anyone shows symptoms, you must put them out of their misery.
That includes me.
Guess the parasites killed him. Don't touch him. He's covered in blood.
Staff member has died.
Stay back! Stay back!
What the hell were you thinking? Mission failed.
Mir wurde gerade eben gesagt, wenn Leute erkrankt sind, soll ich sie erschießen.
Search the building and locate whoever sent that transmission. Guess the parasites killed him. Don't touch him. He's covered in blood.
Staff member has died.
Was that more of
Staff member has died.
He's wearing a mask. He's part of the rescue team. Looks like he's not the one who sent the message. I'd like to hear what he has to say, but you need to keep going. Another transmission.
I have analyzed part of the data that was faxed out. It appears even those who barely smoke begin symptomatic. This must be some kind of mutation.
Staff member has died.
Boss!
What the hell happened?
At least you're okay.
What's going on?
I win. I'm no snail.
Damn it.
So he sent the transmission. Seems like he had a way of IDing who's symptomatic. But what was he trying to say? Snail. Yes, of course. It all makes sense now. Do not let anyone showing symptoms get outside. As infection progresses, it triggers an overwhelming urge to get out in the open. That's the parasite controlling them. Once outside, the birds will feed on infected bodies, spreading the parasite on land. The whole world will be infested. to shoot, boss. We can't let them outside. Damn it. We can't allow any contagious individuals to leave.
Staff member
That's
has
it.
died.
That's good. You still have those goggles. If you see a glow in someone's throat, that means they are infected. And all you can do is give them a quick death. He's infected. Kill him, boss. We can't save him.
Has died.
I'm sorry.
Member has died.
Snake! You just killed your own... Emmerich, what the hell? Nobody asked for your opinion. You expect me to just stand by and watch this?
Are here to kill us! Member has died.
Why?
Member has died.
Boss, wait!
Member has died.
You're insane, Snake! He was one of your men!
Member has died. Member has died.
You yourself said we're a family! Or was it all lies?
Member has died. Member has died. Member has died.
Me! I'm going outside! No! We're dead anyway! Boss! Boss! Hey! Let's let the boss decide. We live and die by your order, boss. Boss!
Shooting your own men! That's not the big boss I'll do!
Has died. Member has died. Member has died. Staff member has died.
Hang on, boss. Is he wearing a mask? He might not be infected. Examine him with those goggles. Carry the rescue team member to the exit. He's the only one not infected.
The map has been updated.
Thank you, boss. a survivor. Unlock the door. Wait. I don't think I made it after all.
What? You just checked him. Could it have progressed this quickly?
Boss, take another look at him with the goggles.
Ich glaub nicht. Nein.
He is infected. I don't believe it.
Maybe I got him through my wounds. They're waiting now. All of them. Do it.
I'm sorry, boss.
Staff member has died.
Ah, die Szene ist cool.
There's nothing we could have done for them. We're all grateful, boss.
It's your fault! They're dead because of you!
What? He's right. I killed them with my own hands.
They were on your side! I'm on your side! and you turn them all to ashes.
They wanted you to shoot. It was that or be burned alive. Come on. Let's get this over with.
Wait. I won't scatter your sorrow to the heartless sea. I will always be with you. Plant your roots in me. See you end as ashes. You're all diamonds.
We're not burying them at sea. What then?
We'll make diamonds from their ashes. Take them into battle with us.
A shining light to our brothers in arms, even in death.
We are diamond dogs.
Geht das aus Menschenasche? Ja. Ich meine, ja, Diamanten sind zum größten Teil Carbon. Asche ist Carbon.
Mission list
Boss,
updated.
I don't know how you do it. All I could do was obsess over revenge, doubting my comrades along the way. But even after all we've accomplished, the phantom pain never let up. If anything, it just got worse. But you understood that from the start, didn't you? From the moment you opened your eyes in that hospital, you knew it wouldn't go away. Yet you've been fighting the pain and confronting your phantoms the whole time. Knowing full well the battle would never end, not till the day you die. I respect that now, more than ever. It's an honor and a privilege, Big Boss.
Well, Doctor, I have the report on the incident at the quarantine facility. Assuming the vocal cord parasite underwent a mutation. The only plausible explanations are exposure to some high-concentration mutagen or radiation. As you know, some of the staff at the quarantine facility were infected with the parasites. The Wolbachia prevented them from copulating, but the parasites themselves can't be removed from their host's vocal cords. Once you're infected with Skullface's parting gift, you're stuck with it. The researchers regularly used X-ray equipment to monitor the parasites in their throats. No problem there, they kept a close eye on the radiation doses. But that equipment didn't just give off X-rays. It was also emitting beta rays. Even though that's unnecessary for the scans. See, beta rays have far worse effects on DNA than X-rays. Meaning the only logical conclusion is that someone added in a beta ray emitter to trigger a mutation. Those beta rays leaked out from inside the equipment. Because the emitter was retrofitted, the shielding was inadequate. And the person who ordered and inspected the equipment was you, Doctor. That makes you the only person with the opportunity to install that emitter.
So now you're saying I sabotaged medical equipment for some wild plan to make the vocal cord parasite kill everyone?
Or maybe you thought it'd reveal a way to treat the parasite without using the Wolbachia. With that much to barter, I suppose some people would welcome even a pathetic cur like you.
Just stop it!
You'd have no shortage of buyers, but most would be happy with just the parasite. You wouldn't need to offer anything else. However, if that buyer already knew about the parasite, they'd also know that by itself, it's no longer the ultimate bargaining chip it once was. To sell to that buyer, you need to throw in a bonus. A way to one-up it. There's only one buyer who'd be after that.
Emmerich, we record all communications on Mother Base. That includes radio transmissions to and from homemade devices. You've been in frequent contact with people in America. A private biotech company. A client of which is DARPA. And they are connected to Cypher. You made a deal with Cypher. You offered them a new parasite in exchange for your safety. This is the only place in the world where the vocal cord parasite still exists. And you used it as a testing ground. Tried to resurrect their bioweapon. But your plan to obtain the parasite has failed. Your bullshit ends now. And don't think you're leaving here alive.
After exposure to the blood of a symptomatic colleague, I found myself making my way up the stairs to this room. And I am not alone. Everyone who's infected, we've all come up here wanting to get outside. I know full well I mustn't leave, given the possibility I'm infected. Yet, I can't contain this urge I feel inside me, like the alcoholic who tries to make any excuse for one more drink. Every step I took up those stairs filled me with this sense of bliss. I still have all my wits about me. It took no time at all to rewire the electronic lock and open the emergency exit. Then, just as I was about to set foot outside, I finally realized what was going on. This desire for freedom is not my own, but that of the vocal cord parasites inside me. They want the ravens to feed on us, pecking us to death. Attracted by these sweet secretions, they have mutated to facilitate this. The sweet smell is powerful enough to attract even a species with such a weak nose. So, before the parasites take complete control, I must. Most of the staff in here are already infected. At least, everyone I've looked at is. Infection with this parasite causes a high fever in the pharynx. I have modified a pair of night vision goggles to to react only to this temperature range. With these goggles, you can identify who is infected. Other infected will, like me, feel compelled to make it outside. If the ravens get their meal, they'll head for land next. That cannot be allowed to happen.
Warum ist er so? Ist halt einfach so. Ist halt im Endeffekt so wie er halt bisher rüberkam, eigentlich irgendwie. Ja. Komplett egoistisch. Der denkt nur an sich. Nimmt jede Chance an, um seine Situation besser zu machen. Auch wenn andere drunter leiden müssen. Ja. Deswegen. Unter anderem auch, ja, deswegen habe ich, glaube ich, ganz am Anfang, als ich das erste Mal hier Metal Gear Solid 5 gespielt habe, glaube ich, gesagt, dass mein, beziehungsweise dass der Charakter, den ich am wenigsten mag, den ich am meisten hasse, in der kompletten Metal Gear Solid Reihe, oder Metal Gear Reihe, dass das Huey ist. Weil der Typ ist... Ich weiß nicht, der Typ ist halt einfach komplett egoistisch. Und ja, wie gesagt, nutzt halt einfach jede Chance, irgendwie seine Situation irgendwie besser zu machen. Und egal, wie viel andere Leute drunter leiden müssen. Und halt jetzt besonders auch noch, gerade in der Situation, Huey ist höchstwahrscheinlich dran schuld, dass das Zeug, das neue Ausbruch und so weiter kam. Und dann beschuldigt er uns, dann meckert er uns an, weswegen wir die Leute erschießen müssen. Oder erschießen. Überhaupt. Der Typ ist einfach ein Arschloch. Aber ja. Ja. Okay, ja. Nächste Woche geht's dann mit Metal Gear weiter. Ich habe absolut keine Ahnung, wie lang. Ob wir vielleicht nächste Woche schon fertig sind, dann halt abschließen können mit dem Spiel oder ob es vielleicht noch eine Woche oder so dauert. Keine Ahnung. Ja. Wir werden sehen.